Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial for the Flesh Eater Courts. Yes, this train does not stop here. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting up the Abhorrant Archregent, and he's going to sit upon the charnel throne. So, what we're going to do is jump in and start painting him. He's been primed in White Scar, just like all the rest of our Flesh Eater Courts, and the colour we're going to be using first is Athonian Camoshade. Now, we're basically doing the box art here because, well, it's really cool. There's lots of really nice stuff going on it. So we're going to do this to show you what it looks like. It's another really kind of awesome scheme that you could use for your characters of your Flesh Eater Courts. Or, you know, for your entire army if you wanted to. It's kind of Hollowmourne, but also kind of not. So we're going to apply this all over the top of all of his skin. Just like this. And then once that's all done, we'll come back. With all that Athonian Camoshade applied, we then need to add a little bit more green in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Kroak Green, and we're going to apply this over the top. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar, and we're going to do a couple of things here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick out the hair. Like that. A little bit more of it in here. Like that sort of thing. And you can't see any of it from the other side. There's a little bit more down here, but instead of doing that, what we're going to do now is we're going to do the kind of blendy bits. So what we want to do is we want to apply this over the top of his back. Now, the first bit is to take it to around about this muscle just here, and then wash the brush, touch off the water, and then around there, you want to blend it into this muscle next to it, like that. As with the rest of the muscles on the back, we also want to apply the Black Templar over the top. I'm applying this like this. Just like that. Then we have the arm. So what we're going to do here, we're going to apply this over the top of this muscle, just there like that. We're then going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then blend it into the green of his skin. Just like that. And then we're going to replicate it on the other side. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Flesh Tearers Red and Shyish Purple. And we're going to apply this over the top of his wing membranes. So that done, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is going to take some Cygor Brown. And we're going to apply this over the top of his cloth and the ropes. So with that all done, the wings membranes are now dry. So what we're going to do is going to take some Druchii Violet and we're going to use this to shade them. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Volupus Pink. And we're going to apply this to the inside of his mouth. Like this. But what we're also going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of the teeth. And I'm going to take a tiny amount of it. I'm also going to apply this over the top of his eyes and the bottom eyelid. Like that. And then we'll also apply it over the top of the nose. Might look a little bit goofy, but don't worry. When we come to highlight it, it'll make sense. So with that all done, we're then going to take two colours, Skeleton Horde and Wyldwood. We're going to apply this over the top of his spines on his back. So we're going to start with Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this all over the top. Just like that. Give the brush a quick wash, touch off the water, grab a little bit of Wyldwood, and then also apply this towards the tip, like so. And if you need to, you can wash the brush, touch off the water, grab a little bit more Skeleton Horde, and use this to just move the colours together. And even if it's not quite dark enough for your taste, you can also just once again take some Wyldwood and apply it in there, like so. However, well, before we do that, we should do the other half of this one. So we grab that Skeleton Horde, whack it all over, wash the brush, touch off the water, grab some of that Wyldwood and apply it towards the tip, like so. Now, the other part I was talking about is to just take Skeleton Horde on its own and apply this over the top of the skulls and bones. that one there. And these ones here. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of his fingernails or talons. Like so. We're going to apply it over his toenails or talons. Like that. And we're going to apply it over the top of the wrap, well, the handle of the sword. So with that done, it's now time to work on the metallics. The first colour we're going to be using for this is some thinned down Screaming Bell. I'm going to be applying this over the top of his shoulder. Like so. But we're also going to apply this over the top of the pommel and the crossguard of the sword. With that Screaming Bell applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. I'm going to apply this over the remaining details. And so with that done, we're now going to add some shades. And the first of these is going to be some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to apply this over both the metallics. And so with that then done, I'm going to take some Reikland Fleshshade. I'm going to use this over the top of his leather. And with that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we're then going to take some Druchii Violet. I'm going to apply this inside his mouth. We're also just going to overlap it a little bit onto his face, just ever so slightly. Like that. So with that all done, he is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. The shades are still drying in some places, but that's okay, because what we're going to do now is take him to the next level, and I'm going to start on the flesh. So the colour we're going to be using first is some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. I'm going to be using this to highlight all of his flesh, including the bits that are pink, the bits that are green, but we're not going to include the bits that are black. Or his back, for example. So with that Deepkin Flesh all applied, what we're now going to do is take some thinned down Pallid Wych Flesh. I'm going to use this to pick out the sharpest points in all of his skin. So for example, these little knuckles here. for that sort of thing, but also areas such as his facial features. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull. This might seem a little bit out of sequence, but what we're going to do is we're going to use this to pick out the teeth. To make him look a little bit less goofy. You just want to leave a little bit of that Volupus Pink at the base of the teeth. Give him that look as if he's got some gums. Just like that sort of thing. And what we're also going to do with the Screaming Skull is we're going to use this to highlight the bones. Like that. And the spikes on his back. So with that all done, we're now just going to take a tiny little dot of white scar. I'm going to apply this over the top of his eyeballs. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is take some thinned down Dawnstone, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the black details across the model. So we've got all of the hair, and we've got the toenails and things like that. But what this will also include is the muscles on his back. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is take some thinned down Karak Stone, and we're going to use this to do lots of different things. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to use this to add a little spot highlight to the claws and the hair. Just like that sort of thing. But what we're also going to do with the Karak Stone is we're going to use this to highlight his wings and his leather. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is going to take some thinned down Fulgurite Copper. I'm going to use this to highlight our Screaming Bell areas. So his armour and the pommel and the crossguard of the sword. With all that Fulgurite Copper applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight silver. With those metallics all done, our Abhorrant Archregent is finished. However, we do need to do the base. And so, well, we're just going to do the bit that he's kind of clinging onto. You can, of course, match the rest of it. So we're going to colour match this to our Charnel Throne and to Usheran. So the colour we're going to be using first is Targor Rageshade. I'm going to be applying this all over the top of the stonework. Whilst waiting for that Targor Rageshade to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown. We're going to apply this over top of the soil. And just be mindful that there is a dead rat just there. That Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take some Black Templar and we're going to apply this over the top of the rat. Excluding his little tail. And with that now done, we're then going to take some Darkoath Flesh and we're going to apply this over the rat tail. So with that rat dealt with for the moment, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. We're going to apply this over the two little kind of hinges just here. One thing I did forget to do, but happily we get to also do some of this in the base, is to take some blood for the blood god. Not very much at all here. We want to add some of this to the rat. Like that. But what we also want to do, you want to add some of this around the spike that's driven through his chest. Just want a little bit like this. A little bit around that side. And then same again on the back. We can add some up the spike here as well. also add some on the blade if you like. Like that. So with that now done, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the Targor Rageshade. And so with that done, we're then going to take some Stirland Mud and we're going to apply this over the top of all that negative space. And I'm sure you'll all have figured it out by now, but to finish the whole thing off, once it's completely dry, we're going to take some Tyrant Skull. We're going to dry brush this over the top of everything. So occasionally I know a meta pick when I see one, and the Abhorrant Archregent absolutely is a must-have for any blossoming Flesh Eater Courts army. He's just unbelievably strong. Decent in combat, is a wizard, and just brings models back for fun, which is the only Abhorrent that can do that in the Flesh Eater Courts. The courtiers are the ones who handle that normally. He's just so good.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.